bloom in spring. Tell me who gives the air that you breathe. Ooh. Everything that you need he will provide, so you may as well come on and give him a try. 'Cause he's awesome. Ooh, he's awesome. He's awesome. What would I do without him? Couldn't make a move without him. I don't wanna be without him. He's awesome.
Ladies, what's up? Welcome to ZMR Ministries. Y'all know I'm Pastor Z, and it's Friday, so you know that means it's Girl Talk Fridays. I'm here with my girls, my ladies, my sisters. I got Patricia here, Bridget, myself, of course, and y'all know TC, Leticia. Today we're going to be talking about selfish or self-care. When is me time okay? So y'all know how we do on Friday nights. We don't do no long introductions. We just dive right into the topic. So we're going to talk about being selfish. Now, y'all are mothers. I'm not. You have dogs. I have Ginger, my dog, but y'all know I can be a little selfish. But I want to talk about with you guys, because as moms, as working moms, y'all have careers. You guys have other things going on with your lives. When do you guys ever feel selfish when you take care of yourself?
Absolutely. You have to take care of your kids. If you're married, you have to tend to your spouse. But sometimes you just need that time to yourself. And I personally, sometimes I feel bad when I'm just like, when I shut the room door, when I lock the bathroom door so nobody can come in. It's just like, leave me alone for like just a few minutes. Everybody leave me alone, please. Sometimes I'm like, y'all eating sandwiches and cereal. I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like washing dishes. And it's just what it is. And so I feel bad because I'm like, oh, they need a nutritious meal. But it's like they also need me to not go off on them about it.
Right. What about you, Bridget?
And to say, so I'm a single mother, and I work full time, and it's a lot of times where I feel bad sometimes when I'm not cooking, or when I don't want to get up and take her to her game, or different things like that, because I'm just tired. You hit a point because you're being pulled on in so many different directions, from work to your outside family, and then you feel the responsibility to have to be there for your child, but at the same time too, you're exhausted. So I know there's times when I need to take care of self, and I have to tell myself that sometimes it's okay that she just gonna have to miss this practice. Or it's okay that we're gonna eat sandwiches and put some chips on the plate tonight because you're still getting a healthy meal. The components are there. so and it's okay, because at this point I'm not okay. So I need to take a break and rest for just a minute, and it's not going to be the end of the world. So it is okay to be selfish, but at the same time, as mothers, we do feel guilty when we are trying to take that time to ourselves.
Patricia?
Yeah, I agree with both ladies, what they said about, just making that a priority and not feeling guilty for being selfish. So yeah, I'm selfish. I have learned, and I'm still learning, but I've gotten a lot better in being okay with being selfish for taking care of myself. I think especially as women and mother, especially, you feel that you're constantly giving, you have to be there, you have to make yourself available, and we have to remind ourselves that you cannot give out of an empty cup. We hear that a lot. So if I keep giving and I don't take the time to recharge myself, eventually I will burn out, I'll have a mental breakdown, and I don't want that.
And you can't be what you need to be to your family, your children, all of that. I don't want to leave my single folks out. I know I'm by myself. I don't have any children. But self-care is very important, because at any stage of life, whether you're married, whether you're a mother, single, whatever it is, you have to take care of self to keep your sanity, to keep you in balance emotionally, spiritually, mentally, intellectually, every lead you can think of. You have to take a moment to take care of you. Because you can't be in the career field, you can't be in ministry, you can't be the wife or mother you need to be if you're trying to be all things to everybody else, and you're forgetting about you. You'll have an emotional breakdown. What are some ways that you can tell women out here, that you guys take care of self?
I will say, so oftentimes people applaud you for your ability to do everything, and you're like, I don't want to though. People praise you for your strength, like, oh, you've been balanced all day. Like, I I don't want to.
Right.
I don't want to be Superwoman. I don't even want to be the sidekick. I want to be the extra. We're trying to do all this. So, you know, it's like people, and I know people mean well when they're like, oh, look at you doing everything, but it's like, I don't want to.
Right.
And so really stepping away, as simple as it is, I kid you not, I will lock that bathroom door. I sneak in there and then I lock the door so nobody can come in. There are also times like I'll go and get my hair done. It's just a part of my monthly budget. Like I go and get my hair done. As soon as I get paid, I send the money to my hair lady. She's a friend, so we go and we talk and she does my hair. I don't have to do my hair because I have to do my two daughters' heads. So I at least don't have to do mine, and I get to talk with a friend, and that little hour and a half, like it gets me through. Mm-hmm. Like I don't need a lot of time, but I need some time. Right. Just going to the grocery store by myself sometimes, I'll take the long way. I will get in the long
those extra minutes.
Just so I can have that little bit of time where nobody's asking me questions. You know, I was joking earlier about coming to the set. I was like, I haven't had to go find a sippy cup. Ain't nobody throwing a sippy cup at me. I haven't had to change any diapers. I haven't had to run around in the backyard and get ate up by mosquitoes. So I love my kids and I miss them, but I'm just working on enjoying this day and this time to myself. And they're okay. They're with my husband, their dad, so it's not like they're in an unsafe environment. So, I mean, little things that I need it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is the small things. I know, like, for myself, I may go purchase a shirt. I was the JCPenney poster child, in case y'all missed that catalog. Or I should have been. But yeah, I would go purchase, if it was just a shirt, I would get myself a shirt. If it was just sitting in the bathtub and watching something on Amazon Prime, sitting there for 30 minutes. It was just 30 minutes of peace to myself. In fact, it was about last week, I called Zion and I said, guess what I did? I took myself to get a massage. Right. I mean, just out the blue.
I clapped, y'all. I was like, oh my God! You didn't know she told Oprah gave her a car or something. I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I was so happy.
Awesome. Because it's been a minute since I've done something for myself. And I was just tired and I felt my body breaking down. And I was like, I'm gonna go pay for myself to get a massage. And it was the best ever because it was an hour and a half of nothing. Of just somebody peppering to me with the little angelic sounds in the room. You know, so it was good. It's just find what makes you happy. And I tell Zion too, go try a new restaurant.
Right, all the time.
That's it. I don't care where you are. There's so many places to eat here. Even with COVID, get it curbside. You can pick it up curbside, take it back to the house, watch that episode you've been wanting to watch. It's just a minute of you just not having to think or do anything else. Do what makes you happy.
Right. That's risky though. What's the food not good? You spend your money on it.
And then you can go back to that sandwich and chips that you got in there.
No, she said sandwich and chips. No, she didn't say chips. She said sandwich and cereal.
Oh, so see, I don't like cereal, so let's do chips.
I need chips too.
Yes. And I totally, same thing, agree with everything that they said. And I think because self-care right now is kind of a trendy topic, some people have they think that self-care has to be luxurious or expensive, or you treating yourself to the spa and all these things. Those are great. I mean, to do, you can do that for yourself, but it does not have to be expensive. Right. Just like you said, you just being able to eat a meal, but actually being intentional about eating your food instead of eating your food while you're talking on the phone or texting or scrolling on social media. You're not really eating mindfully. By the time you finish your food, you don't even remember what it tastes like. Right. Just giving yourself that time is, self-care. Just reminding yourself that I need to get good sleep and being intentional about making sure that you get your 8-hour sleep. Other things that I do, just connecting with nature. It's cheap, so it's available to you. Right. Just being able to go outside in your yard or just in the front porch, sitting there and just having that moment and be present in the moment. Little bitty things like that are all part of self-care. So for someone out there who's thinking, oh my gosh, but I don't have any money to eat out at a restaurant, there's things that you can do around the house. Most of my clients that I see in my practice, I would say 90% of them struggle with that, with self-care. And one of the things I would just ask them, first will be like 20 minutes of nothingness.
Right.
Like, don't do nothing. You just sit there, don't do nothing, and you'll be amazed how difficult it is for women to just do nothing.
Right.
You constantly feel like, oh my gosh, the kids are sleeping. I need to go do the laundry. I need to do the dishes. No, if they're taking a nap, take a nap. You need that time off. Like, don't start thinking about the next thing to do. So we have to really be intentional about taking care of ourselves and making ourselves a priority.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm listening to you ladies, and I think the biggest misconception, especially for single women, is that single women with no children is that we're automatically deemed as selfish. Why do you need to take care of it? I mean, you can do that because you're by yourself, you this, that, and the other, and we get a bad rep for it. And it's like, you know, you have to tell, okay, so what, I'm single and I don't have kids. Well, you're supposed to be doing stuff like that, but it's just like, it's don't count us out.
And that's a big one, because especially, I wish I knew more about self-care when I was single, than it would have translated when I got married.
Right.
But
stuff like what? Tell me.
But I would say boundaries. That's another form of self-care.
Right.
Like, just because I'm single, I don't have no kids or husband, don't mean that I'm free all the time. You know?
That's I don't have a life.
Exactly. You would have just assumed, oh, you can come babysit. Oh, you can come do this. You know, they always want you to put things on your plate.
Come
No,
on.
I just need to be home. And that's okay to say that. So setting boundaries and telling people, letting them know, yes, I am single, but I need my time. I can't commit to every activity at church or, you know, with family and all those things. Like, you have to set boundaries as part of yourself.
And you know what? That's in every level. Because if you master self-care now while you're single, for all those ladies out there that are single with no kids, then when you get married or when you have children, that would transcend over into that next dimension of relationship. Self-care should be relational. Whoever you're with, you know, they should want you to take care of yourself. You need to surround yourself with people who have like minds like you that say, hey, you know, whenever I'm sounding a little tired, or Bridget looks at me on FaceTime or something, or Patricia, she'll say, what's wrong, Mama? And I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Bridget's like, I hear it. I see it all over your face. You know, because people think we don't tire out. You know, oh, well, you ain't got no kids. You're not chasing around kids. You don't know what I'm doing. You know, you don't know what I'm fighting mentally, emotionally. You know, you don't know how I'm dealing with things. Or because I'm single, I take on so much. Because I feel like, oh, well, I have the time. You know, that I sometimes forget to go take care of Zanya. And then it'll take friends that say, you need to go to sleep. Turn it, well, my phone be on Do Not Disturb. Anyway. So, you know, it's just those things. I want to encourage single women out there that just because you're by yourself, don't let anyone make you feel guilty or like that's what you should be doing. I mean, who can blame you and things like that? You know, they make it so negative. Make it so negative. So with that being said, you know, sometimes I do feel guilty. Because you hear about your friends that whether they're a single mom or they're married and they do have all these obligations, they have all these priorities, they're trying to balance it all, they wear all these hats, and then sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like, well, I don't have all that. You know, maybe I shouldn't complain. Maybe I shouldn't feel down. Why am I tired? You know, things of that nature. What are some ways that you guys have felt guilty when it comes to taking care of yourself? Or how people have made you feel guilty?
Yeah, because it's like kind of like I was saying, you know, people applauding you for how much you put on your plate, and it's like I'm actually trying to take stuff off my plate. When you applaud me for that, can I be applauded for taking care of myself first? My husband is kind of funny because sometimes he'll just be like, I think you need to just go take a ride by yourself. And I'm like, oh, is it showing? Right. Yeah. Is it? Or he'll be like, mate, go ahead and go take a shower and, you know, just get a little time to yourself. And it's like, okay, but I still need to do grades. I still need to get clothes ready for tomorrow. We still need to clean up the kitchen. I need to put this stuff in the dryer. Toys are everywhere. And it's just like, you know what, though? This can wait. And then, you know, people be like, yo, all this stuff everywhere. I don't care about that right now. I'm tired. these toys is fine. Step over them. Well, go on.
Right.
But, I mean, it's almost like if your plate isn't overloaded, then you're not the strong woman. You're not
a good mother.
I'm good. And I told her for another day, so some stuff we can't take off our plate, but we can scoot stuff to the side and we can prioritize things. And sometimes when people don't fall on that priority list where they think they should, they have a problem with it.
I know with you, Bridget, especially with you being a single mom, and she does it well. I'm not saying that, what you just said, like, okay, Zanya. She does it well, but I see the backdrop. I see, what she goes through in order to perform at that level. But at the same time, she does take care of herself. Bridget takes trips. She makes sure Alana is good, but she's often made to feel guilty for doing that. Yeah. You're a single mom. You need to be saving your money. That's reckless. You need to stop that. Da 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 da. What are some other ways that people have made you feel guilty for taking care of you?
I mean, even I want to say when she was younger. You have to blend families because you didn't have a baby by yourself. So that's even on the other side when, you would want to ask someone, hey, can you watch her for a little bit? For something, because when she was younger, I was working 2 jobs and working on my master's. So, when it was there and I say, hey, can you watch it for me? Sometimes it was turned around like, oh, you just want to run in the streets.
Right.
Or something else like that. And I'm like, no, I just want to get some sleep. In regards to that. So it's one of those where when you're asking for help, people throw it back up. Or like, oh, well, you need to be keeping your baby because I'm having to watch her while you working. Okay, you're right. So, you get to the point to where you stop asking. And, sometimes that's where I had to go back and learn because it wasn't until the latter of her years that I started traveling, and doing things like that because I didn't want to ask because I didn't even know. When she was younger, I boo-hoo cried. Oh, she's not going to know me. I don't want you to keep her. Everything else because, one, I felt guilty for even asking, because now I'm putting my burden off on somebody else and, you're the one that had the kid, nobody else. Right. Don't let people let you feel that way. Do not. I don't care, single or not, even when you marry, you still have those same issues.
And you know what? Reaching out and asking for help is self-care. Because it's acknowledging I can't do all of this by myself. I need help. And I don't think anything is wrong with that. To me, that's another form of taking care of yourself. Yeah. What about you, Patricia?
I'll piggyback on what Bridget said, that asking for help part. But also surrounding yourself with people that really support you.
Yes.
Because I think that, the guilt comes because you have people around you who doesn't even understand really where you are in your life. So I've learned that I don't deal so much anymore with the negative people or those people that are not supportive because I've learned to have people around me that push me to have to take that time off. My husband is my number one supporter. Just like your husband, he can see me and be like, okay, this is time. Go shopping. Like you need some retail therapy. Or he will just give me my time. We'll take medicine and be like, mommy needs our time. Or I remember a couple years ago, I had a child that has a lot of medical needs, so we were just overwhelmed for the first 3 years where everything was just about her and taking care of her. And I was burnt out, but I felt guilty. And then who want to take care of her while I'm trying to go on vacation? It just didn't seem right for me to ask for that time off. And I will struggle with that. And one day, my husband just told me, I booked you a trip and you're going overseas. And it was overseas. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so far away. And I went for a 7-day trip at an Airbnb. And it's the best time ever. Because I had no agenda, no itinerary per se. I woke up whenever I wanted to. I ate whatever I wanted to. If I wanted to eat good, eat like a real meal or eat just cereal. Like I didn't have to think about somebody else to take care of. Now, I love my daughter. I love my family. But I needed that time to just recharge and take care of me. And it took sending me overseas for me to be able to really, recharge myself. So
and you know what, Patricia, that's a different type of guilt. Because not just having children and being so far away, but her needed so much medical attention. You're constantly thinking about, okay, something gonna go wrong. Are they doing this? Let me tell you, I remember Bridget and I was at Patricia's house. And I think she had to leave and go somewhere, and she was just like, no, I'll stay, and I got Maddie, and da-da-da. And Bridget was sitting over there like, and I was like, Patricia, I was like, we're here. She's solid. She's good. Go do what you have to do. And she sat there and fought it. And it's because because of course it's the mother instinct in her, but it was also people saying, you know, that she knew she could trust.
Right.
She knew we had her best interest at heart. She knew when we were just trying to push her out the door, and she knew she had people she could depend on.
Right.
Like, you know, they live in the boonies, honey. I mean, I don't live here anymore. We're in Dallas, and I'm in Atlanta, but you know, you need friends who would take the time to say, you know what, I'll come and sit. Whatever it takes. And she know I'll call Bridget in a minute and tell her. Bridget is like the mama, right? Even though she's younger, you know, I would call and tell her and be like, Patricia is not listening. She told us, show up.
We on the way.
She better get some sleep.
Right.
Patricia, go to bed.
Exactly. And no kidding. And you need people like that.
Right. And you need, you know what? And you need ride or dies.
Yeah.
And that's not just having your back when you need somebody to show up when something pop off. You need somebody to show up when you won't relax.
Right.
Where you're just like, okay, you want to do it for yourself? I'm going to make you do it.
You're about to do it.
Right. So when we think about self-care, and we've talked about different ways of self-care, we talked about guilt that comes with it. How important is hobbies? Just finding outside sources to keep yourself busy. Even though you're busy with a lot anyway, but just those little spare moments that keep your mind, you know, at ease. What are some things, there are some hobbies that you do?
Well, for me, I'm a homebody. I don't really need to get out of the house, but I like to cook. But I don't want nobody in my kitchen with me when I'm cooking. Cooking is that's my happy place.
That's all of these women. I'm the eater.
Yes, she is.
They all know that.
I've been on there for more than 10 years. She hasn't cooked a meal for me.
Listen.
I've known 15 years you cooked once.
I did. That was in college.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so cooking for me, like I like to just get in the kitchen and cook. I like to watch cooking shows, so it's like, no, we not turning on Little Baby Bum, we not turning on Coco Melon, we not turning on none of that. None of that. None of that. I am watching this cooking show. You gonna sit down and you gonna watch it, or you gonna get out? So even though it's not like an out of the house hobby, I like to cook and I like to watch people cook, and I like to eat. Don't let the slim figure fool you. I like to eat too. So just being able to do that undisturbed, it goes from my happy place to stressful when people start walking through the kitchen and asking me questions while I'm cooking. So it's like, get out, act like you don't even see me here.
Right, I'm not here.
Yeah, I'm not really here.
What about you, Bridget?
One, I'm gonna say hobbies are important because it still gives yourself your identity. So that's the main thing, because a lot of times we lose ourselves in our family and in our kids, and we forget who we are. So for me, my hobbies, like she say, I love to cook. I am a Bacon Wars championship, everything. I like to watch it. That's one of the things I love to watch, but I also love sports. So being able to watch a baseball game, go to the game, go watch football, hockey, I don't care what it is. But I love sports and I love to work out, as well. So just being able sometimes to get out and go lift weights. I can just breathe for a minute and I feel better. Or just being able to watch a game, eat a hot dog, and some nachos, and some fries. And you're good. So it's just those moments where you get to enjoy what you like.
Yeah, definitely. Hobbies are important because it just brings you back. So, it recenters you, brings you back to your creativity, to your fun self, or even just your childlike self. So it's important to have them. I will have to say, the older I'm getting, my hobbies are changing. I have some weird hobby for some people, like I like cleaning.
Look, everyone got to know. When I say usually people
don't understand, but again, I'm kind of like you with the kitchen. When I'm cleaning, I don't want people to be around when I'm cleaning. Right. But I like to be able to just have a clean house, declutter. One of my hobbies is to go like interior design type of shopping.
All the time.
Just looking at decoration and things like that. I can sit in front of HGTV for hours, and that just brings me joy. Another one that I discovered when I started this journey of self-care was coloring books. It's just something really soothing about getting a color book and just start coloring. Like, it just really focuses your mind. You forget about other things because you're so focused on coloring and following the lines. That's really exciting and just relaxing. And I even got Alan to start doing it with me. So we'll have like, my husband is Alan. So we'll do like a couple of times where we're just coloring a book and we start just talking while we're doing that. And it's just gonna get us out of the all the responsibility of life. We just relax coloring together. And it's fun because it's like we're little kids coloring this thing.
And it brings y'all closer together.
Doing an activity together. So we have something we can connect with. Both of us enjoy doing it. He's a graphic designer, so he likes coloring. I'm not the most crafty or creative type of person, but I can color. So it's just something that kind of bonds us. But I really like that, you know, and of course just the stuff like taking a bath. Just sitting there, nobody is there, it's just me. I can stay there as long as I want to with quiet moments. So yeah, those a little hot.
You know, with me, I'm an extrovert and people know I'm very outgoing, but what folks don't really know about me is I'm a homebody. I can stay, listen, I can stay in the house. Everybody was freaking out in the pandemic and I was just like excited. Yes, I remember Patricia called me and she's like, how are you doing in the pandemic? She's like, never mind, I forgot. This is heaven for me. And I was like, it is. Bridget knows, listen, I have a fire stick and I would turn on Golden Girls. And I will watch just the same, clearly it's reruns, but they're new to me. And I'm cracking up and I'm laughing at these old women like it's a new episode. And I'm okay. As long as I have a bowl of cereal. I'm not the cooker like them. It's not that I can't cook, but that just, I'm a better eater, clearly. But, you know, I just, that's joy for me. And it doesn't mean that I have to be out. I don't have to spend money, like you said. It doesn't have to be expensive. I will say this. I am an Amazon fanatic. That's therapy for me. So, you know, for those who are single and, you know, we make, well, of course we have to budget, but you know, you only have yourself to consider. You know, Amazon, I call it amazing. I'm constantly getting boxes and it makes me happy. It makes me feel like it's Christmas all the time. And I'm sitting there and the Amazon box. It's almost, I don't want them to get my order wrong, but I kind of look forward to it because I'm just like, what are you going to give me for an inconvenience? And it just makes me, even more happy. Right. Y'all didn't hear that, Amazon. But it's those little things that make you happy. Coloring, you know, cooking. Bridget loves to cook too, and you know, like she said, she likes to work out, or just watching sports, or just watching TV, being at home. You just don't know how you're replenishing, right? That's replenishing you. That's rejuvenating you. All of a sudden, you have energy. I think a lot of times when we think, especially in terms of rest, we feel like we have to be asleep. But sometimes just doing things like that, you're resting your mind. You're recouping. Now you're not short tempered. You know, you're not agitated. You can do things a lot more easily or with ease. Instead of, you know, being uptight or just like, I feel like I'm getting pulled on. You know, now when the pulling or tugging comes at you, you're okay with reaching out or just helping or doing what you feel like this is my responsibility without having resentment. So how important is faith when it comes into self-care?
So
she said,
I think people forget that even God rested. It's like,
that's good.
Even he rested. After he did all the stuff he did, he rested. And then we at church, somebody was like, but God doesn't really need to rest. So why did he rest? And I'm like, that was an example for us. Right. We get caught up in our work. We start identifying ourselves and what we do. And we forget that we are a being in and of ourselves. And, you know, it's, what are my kids doing? What is my husband doing? What am I doing at work? What have I created? What am I doing up here? What am I doing up there? And sometimes we forget to just sit and be. Like, just be. You don't always have to do something. And I think that's the importance of, you know, remembering that God rested, not because God was like, ooh, I'm tired, y'all. He put my feet up. But it's just like, don't identify yourself in what you do.
He kind of, it's like set an example for us.
Right. I think so. I think that, you know, if we are believers, then we know the commandments and the Sabbath. Do not forsake the Sabbath. You know, that is one of the commandments that God tells us to acknowledge and to honor the Sabbath. So I think God, who is the creator of the heaven and the earth, if he puts that on there that you need rest, is for us to really pay attention that that's essential
Right.
for your walk with God and you being on this earth. You need that time where you connect with Him, you reconnect with Him, where He fills you up so you can go out there and be able to do what you do.
Right.
But you know, unfortunately, we have people who go and they keep going until they finally reach that limit. Then you come back to the Lord. Then it's so much harder to connect in that moment because you've already gone so far. So having that as a routine where, you know, like he says, it was the seventh day was the day of rest. So making it a daily, a lifestyle, a routine where you always take that time. For some people, it might be Sunday at church. For some people, it might be a Saturday or a Tuesday, but you have a day in the week where you know this is my Sabbath. This is the day where I reconnect with the Lord, whether it's in prayer, meditation, reading the word, whichever way, but that's important.
Bridget?
I think for me, as in within faith, it's a daily thing, and at that point of rest is a time when you're reconnecting with Him. And that's just because we're on the go all day long, and at the end of the day, He really does just want to have a moment of your time. And it's that relationship that you're building. So it's even too when you're laying down, and it may be when you're getting ready to go to sleep or something, but I'm providing and I'm having to give that time to reconnect with Him. And it's at that point when He's able to mentally download back into me as well and can physically start putting things back into you because you need that moment of peace because there's always chatter around you all day long that you may not be able to hear Him clearly, you know, at that point. So I feel like too, that's why it's so important for the rest. Because at that time is when He's able to hear you. So it's even hearing His voice, what they say, in the wind. You know, you can hear it. So it's at that time when you're in a quiet place that it may be laying down. It may be in that minute of taking that bath. It could be just sitting on the patio, you know, when you're there. But it's that time when you're resting that you can really reconnect with Him and hear Him.
You know, I'm listening to Bridget, and of course I agree with all of you ladies. I know for Bridget it's a struggle to take rest.
It is.
And it's not because she has so much on her plate. Bridget just has to be on the go.
Got to be.
Can you explain or just give some advice or encouragement of how to take that time of rest when you're not a homebody?
No.
Bridget has to be in the streets. That's why I'm glad during this Corona season it sat her down. You know, and she was complaining about it the entire time. And I told her, I said, you know, you may be missing what God is trying to speak to you. Because you're trying to get out in the streets. Maybe he's operating on you on the inside, so you can on the outside it can manifest itself, and you can be ready once you're released to go back out. So how can you help somebody and tell them how important it is that you can take this rest, you won't die.
I'm here. So I clearly one of the main things that I have learned on my faith walk is that if I don't do it, then He's gonna do it for me. So it may be something where I'm sitting there and I'm thinking I'm going, and then COVID hits. And you have to sit down and you don't have a choice but to listen at that point. And I cried. And I was just like, I can't sit here, I can't do this. But you can. And it's very important, not only to your mental stability, because you really don't know what's going on with your body. And sometimes you really don't know how tired you are until you sit down and you really get that rest. And you say, I really did need that. So you have to be real with yourself and realize that the world is still going to go on. Right. The same thing you thought you were going to do today is going to happen tomorrow. And really and truly, He may be telling you to sit down and save you from something. Right. So there could be something that you weren't supposed to be in this car accident. You weren't supposed to be in the shootings that's happening out here or this riot or anything else, and He's protecting and saving you from something. But at the same time, too, you may not know where you're about to venture over into. Right. So right now, you need to take this time. One, it may be to build your mental stability, your physical stability. There's a bunch of different things that He may be trying to download into you. And if you're constantly moving, then you won't have what you need to equip you for that next season you're about to step over into.
You better preach on Girl Talk. Come on, equip. She even did the preacher hand.
Reached out.
The call. So was there ever a time that you really feel like I'm about to have a breakdown? Oh. And how did you overcome it?
All the time. So disclaimer, I have 5 kids and I work full time and I'm in grad school. This will be my my second graduate degree. So I'm constantly, and I'm always asking God, why you want me to do all this? Like, it's too much. Every time I have an assignment due, I'm about to drop out of school. Every time my alarm clock goes off, I'm about to quit my job. I'm just like, it's too much. Like, I just want to, but then it's like, is it really too much, or am I tripping? And that's kind of going into prioritizing, and having a routine and having a schedule really helps me to not like go crazy, because then I'm like, okay, I'll do a little bit of this and I'll do a little bit of that and I'll do a little bit of that and then I'll come back to this and then I'll go over here and do that. So having a routine keeps me from like my head exploding. But I always go back to the scripture, like the same spirit that Jesus performed all the miracles with, the same spirit that rose him and others from the dead, is the same spirit giving me life. So all the things that God has for me to do, I already have the strength and I'm equipped to do it. You know, the hustle and bustle of life, and the enemy's always trying to keep you distracted, keep you off focus. So just bringing my mind back to the scripture helps me from like exploding or even imploding when I'm just like, I have so much to do, I can't do it all, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. It's like, okay, stop, what can you do? Do that. And when that's done, what can we do now? Maybe what we can do is put our feet up and do nothing else today, or maybe I do have the energy to do something else, but I have those moments all the time where I'm just like, I'm gonna quit everything.
You know, I spoke to a friend of mine some time ago, and she told me, she said, you know, Zanya, I create brackets for myself. And I was like, okay, what are brackets? You know? And she said, I legit plan my day. From 10 to 10:30, I'm gonna do this. And from 11 to 1, I'm gonna do that. And I was like, that doesn't always work. And she said, no, just hear me. She's like, I know it may not work. She said, but at least it's a plan. And it keeps my life in order. And she said, and if I don't get this done, or if I'm not finished, if I say I'm washing and folding laundry between 10 and 1, and 1 o'clock comes around, I've only done one load and I have laundry to go, too bad. Lunchtime is over. Right. She's like, it's time to move on. And so she's like, before I allow myself to get overwhelmed, to break down over what's not done, I say, you know what? Your time is up. It's time to move on to something else. And I was like, you know what? That's really good. And I could apply that to my life, not just, you know, she's married with kids, of course. But I was like, that makes so much sense to me, you know, to create brackets for yourself. I just wanted to
structure and schedule. I agree. I think for me, I had to learn that for me to prevent burnout or, you know, mental breakdown in the future, because I've had those, too many of them, where it affected my health and, you know, all that became really serious issues. So I had to really think about, you know, usually what people do is they grind or they work and we're working hard, and then we're going to reward ourselves with a self-care trip or a self-care activity. And, you know, so we look forward, we work until we can't no more, and then we'll go to this vacation to an island for a week or 2 weeks, and then you come back to do the same thing all over again. Then you feel like you have to take a vacation from the vacation because you didn't really rest, and so then you just continue in the cycle. You're not really taking care of yourself. So I learned that the best self-care is the day-to-day things that I can do, that I can put in place to prevent those burnouts, to get to that place where I felt, oh my gosh, now I need to take a vacation and go somewhere else. So little bitty things that I can apply on my daily routine, like we just talked about, those activities that bring us joy. If it is taking a long shower or taking a bath or eating a meal by ourselves or cooking a meal, that's something you can do daily. If maybe daily you can't do a self-care activities, maybe 2-3 times a week, you schedule that time to replenish yourself. That way, if you do it on a regular basis, it becomes a lifestyle. You won't get to the point where you're burnt out.
And you know what? And I'm glad that you said that, because my next question was going to be how often you should treat yourself. Like, are there any rules to that, or do you set them?
I pat myself on the back whenever I do something. If I ain't gonna check for me, who gonna check for me? You know what? I got this done. Give myself some hand claps, pat myself on the back. I think sometimes we get so busy, especially doing for other people, that I don't even tell myself thank you. Like, I don't even take time to appreciate myself. It's like, oh, did anybody else tell me thank you today? Then I must not have done a good job. It's like, nah, player, pat yourself. Because you made it from sun up to sundown. Pat yourself on the back, no matter what happened. And so That's a big deal. Saying thank you to yourself,
Right.
appreciating.
I was gonna say self-appreciation.
Yeah.
Bridget, how do you show self-appreciation and how often?
Honestly, I don't self-appreciate myself too much. And that is something that I need to work on for myself. Like I say, sometimes Zion has to tell me, go do something. It's okay, whatever else. But I have been working on that to every pay period. Where I'll be like, okay, this pay period, I'm gonna buy a shirt and do this. But here recently, I have taken time to where I just say, I'm going to sit in the bathtub. And this is what I'm doing tonight, 30 minutes in the tub. And also, as in, for me, I used to wait and do everything on the weekend.
Right.
And she knew Sunday was wash day. All day long, I'm watching on Sunday and I'm folding. That's what we doing on Sunday, and we watching the football game. But now, what I may do is I'll tell my baby, you got clothes that need to be washed, you wash a load a night. So each night I may wash one load, put it in the washing machine. Before I go to bed, I stick it in the dryer. It's gonna sit in the dryer until I get back home the next day, and then I will fold it and put it in there. So I'm not overloading myself to where I'm breaking it down in pieces. And it's okay if it's sitting in the dryer. That's what I got to iron for later. To put on there, and I tell myself that it's okay.
Right.
Because I know sometimes if I have to run out and leave my clothes on the couch, nobody should be in my house when I'm going anyway. And then if someone does come over, it's my true friends. And they're not going to sit and look at me like, she
Girl, why this lunch break?
I'm gonna be like, dang, she only got one load.
Right. And see, that's the same. I can walk right up in TC house and see the kids walk right on the, oh, hey, y'all. You know what I mean?
Step over everything.
And don't care and ask
Exactly.
what can
I will push over the laundry. She knows it. I'll come over, like, especially if it's food, which is always food with Bridget. She cooks. So if I'm coming over, I don't care about no laundry. I'm pushing pajamas and everything to the side. Right. And I'm gonna get right there. And then when I get up, I'm gonna push your socks right back. And they know, Patricia especially knows, I will travel for food. Okay? I mean, it's a given. But I like that Bridget was candid about that, was honest about, not doing enough for herself. And that's one thing that balances us out, because I may do too much for myself, because I'm constantly just always, girl, look what I got. Girl, look what I did. Girl, look, I bought, and because I don't care if I feel a moment, where I'm just like, I'm not really feeling myself right now. I'm not feeling everything that's going on. I'm feeling down. I don't feel balanced. I'll go to a store or to Amazon, and I'm going, there's Amazon again, and I'll be like, girl, look at this t-shirt. It was $2. I'm going to be excited about it. I don't care if it's a cup of latte from Starbucks. I call and be like, girl, look at my Frappuccino, my whatever it's called, the spice with the caramel, or what, you know what I'm talking about, the whatever, salted caramel. I had Frappuccino. But that's important to me. Or, buying wigs. Yes. Wigs make me happy. So it's those small things. Patricia, what are some things, that you do? She's like, I know when I'm not gonna, well, yeah, she's already thrown it out. Let me just add this. I don't know what she's gonna say. Patricia,
Oh, Lord.
she's an interior designer, okay? She's like, I may need them. You heard her earlier trying to brush it under the rug, where she's like, I may go to Home Goods, or I may go and just look at, stuff to decorate it. But every time you go to her house, it's a new piece. I needed to change that couch because it was just getting old. 3 months ago? But it's nice. It's always nice. I ain't saying that one. It's always nice, but I'm glad we share that bond, because I remember when I moved, Patricia was constantly sending me pictures. I'm sending her pictures. I'm sending stuff. I don't care if I was at Family Dollar. I was like, what you think? She's like, girl, you need to go here. I'm like, I ain't got that kind of finances, but we gonna do this. And it brought us closer. Right. It was something we looked forward to. It was something exciting. And sharing that excitement is also self-care, because A is holding you accountable. She will call and be like, Zanya, did you decorate your bathroom? And I'm like, girl, not yet. But I did find some curtains. I put it in my basket, and Friday when I get some extra money, I'm going to go ahead and add to cart and pay. Yeah. But that alone, sharing your honesty, sharing those small moments of excitement is also self-care, because you get the praise. praise. You get the affirmation. Not that we're looking for that, but you know, people that care about you don't mind patting you on the back.
Right.
You know, you don't have to look for it. You know, you don't have to seek it out. We're always saying, "Oh, good job, girl. That's nice." You know, except the cotton.
We're each other's height.
We're not gonna talk about
We gonna talk about the cotton. Okay, my bad. But I want to give you an opportunity to especially address that, Patricia, because there are, as you ladies see, there are so many ways that self-care can be defined.
I mean, to answer to your question before, you know, how often or how
That's
much
it. Girl, I
self-care.
forgot what I asked. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. She brought us back. She brought us back.
You know, I would say there's no limit. You know, I think ideally we would do self-care daily.
Right.
You know, because you want to take care of you. But there is no limit. For some people, they're able to do it on a daily basis. Some people can only maybe because of the busyness of life, you're in grad school, kids, all of that. You may only be able to do it once a week or twice a week. So it varies. But as long as you find time for you, you don't neglect yourself and forget yourself. So, so you were asking me, what do I do for myself? Or
You look good. I forgot now.
I mean, there's so many activities, you know, I can do. It varies. It depends on the mood. Sometimes just binge watching on YouTube videos is self-care for me because sometimes I feel guilty to do that. It's like, is this really productive? Am I learning? Am I wasting screen time? You know, we always feel guilty. So I give myself permission to just binge watch on YouTube, and that feels good. It's like a guilty pleasure because I allow myself to do it. So I can just say I'll do 1 hour where I'm just gonna look at interior designers on YouTube, or I'll look at family. I like vloggers, like family vloggers, and then it just makes me happy to look how other people live their lives, and I just enjoy that. And that might be my self-care for the day. And there might be some days where I just wanna go eat lunch by myself.
Right.
That's self-care, you know.
You know what else I thought of just sitting here, you know, before we wrap it up is, you know, feeling guilty when, especially being in ministry, because being women of faith. You know, people tend to feel, I can't say people, but you tend to feel like if I have a spare moment, all of that needs to be with God. I need to be in prayer. I need to be studying the word. I need to be just pouring myself. I need to be at the feet of Jesus. When, you know, you do get a moment and you're like,
I'm out.
And the Holy Spirit is like, get out there. Sleep.
Do y'all ever feel like that?
Right.
Like, man, I slept all this time. I watched 8 hours of Golden Girls, and then, Lord, by the time I'm praying to you, I'm dozing off, and it's just like, God, I couldn't pray to you earlier because mentally I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? But I think all of this helps so many other people, so many other women, whether you're married, whether you're a parent, whether you're single. Self-care is so important. You need it to live, or you would kill yourself out literally. You would check out without dying.
It's essential. It's
Right.
for your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health, and your spiritual health.
Right.
Self-care
Right.
is essential.
Right.
So,
So, any other words of advice? Just any takeaways that you want to give the ladies?
Yeah. So the
And men. I'm sorry. And men.
Oh y'all, just everybody.
Everybody.
So the idea of the self affirmations and the daily affirmations, it came from a therapist. It wasn't like my idea. I was like, oh my God, I'm giving myself affirmation. It was through talking to someone else that she was like, you need to give yourself affirmations and you need to appreciate yourself. And so that's just kind of my advice to people. Appreciate yourself.
Right.
Like, stop looking for everybody else's approval. Stop trying to find your identity in what you do. Stop trying to find your identity in how other people view you. But like, appreciate yourself.
Right.
Take time to get to know yourself. And you don't have to spend money to do self-care. Really, just taking time to focus on you, whatever that may be, is self-care.
Right.
I would say, I'm sorry I skipped because I'm like, if I lose, I would say when she said that it just triggered, and you know, an idea, just you loving yourself and knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, just having a list of 20 things or how many you want to, of things that bring you joy. I just love what Zania said because she's very self-aware of her self-care or what brings her joy. So it just writing down, buying myself a wig or receiving a package from Amazon, eating, having a latte from Starbucks, little bitty things that bring you joy. Start to pay attention to those things, write them down, and try to make it a focus maybe to just do 2 or 3 of those things a week. Just starting there, that's a way to start establishing that routine, of self-care. So,
any takeaways, Bridget?
I think to make it okay for yourself, to be there.
Give yourself permission.
Yeah, give yourself permission. It's okay, to do it, and then don't compare yourself to what somebody else is doing.
Right,
it's not about what somebody else does for their self-care or where they're going or what they're doing. It's about what you can do for yourself, and you do what you can do. You know what you can do. If it's just, like we say, sitting in the tub, if it's sitting on the patio, if it's just sitting, do that.
And do nothing.
And do nothing. Sometimes it's just doing nothing, and that's okay. It's okay, but make sure to be cognitive and to be intentional on what you're doing.
And just be self-aware. Be self-aware. That's very important to know where you are at all times. Having that moment of clarity is what shifts your focus as to where you need self-care. Because sometimes I may not need self-care physically, but emotionally I may need self-care. Or some days I don't feel down and depressed, but physically I'm like, I don't feel secure in myself. So I need to do some self-care there, and then it becomes routine, like Patricia was saying. And I think that's very important when it comes to taking care of self first, is being aware. So I pray that all of you ladies out there, whoever is watching, that you listen to this conversation, that it helps you, that it blesses you, that you don't feel guilty for taking the time, that you don't feel shamed if you need to take a moment away from your kids. If you are single or if you're married, if you need to leave your husband at home for a second, go hide yourself in the bathroom and tell your kids, get out. Whatever it is. Take the time to do that. If you're single, don't feel bad of being in your zone right now. This is where you are. Learn it and live up to your self-care even in this moment, in this season. God bless y'all. Thank y'all, ladies, my friends, my girls.
Thank you for having us.
Thank y'all for coming and talking to me, even though y'all know we talk anyway. But I just think it's some things need to be talked about, because other women, some people may not have that group of friends, that group of girlfriends that have kind of the same morale that will push them, because each and every one of us, we pour differently. And I get something from each and every one of y'all. So I'm just grateful that I'm able to share you guys with the world. Thank y'all for joining us for another Friday night of Girl Talk. Listen, you know what it is. I say it all the time. Next Friday, another episode. Join me, another topic with my friends. It's all about us ladies. You guys have a safe weekend. Thank you for joining us again. You be blessed. Bye.
Day and night, I'm so blessed. I can move everybody part with no stress. When they see me, man, they say they want a contest. You talking negative and envy, I put it to rest. Cause I'm headstrong, I got my mind back. And if you really want yours, you can get it back. Some people thinking, some people wishing. With a new creation and mellow, we keep it pushing. I got you moving with no stopping. Congratulations, thank you haters, cause I know you're watching. And if you think it's over, then haha, I'm laughing. Take a picture of the beginning, we pushing. Get your minds, get your